All right, thank you so much. The program's still much alive here on independent television. About 2 weeks ago, we read on our dailies that the NUC, the National University Commission, had to unbundle mass communication as a field of study in Nigerian universities into different disciplines, so to say. And this has elicited reactions from many people, most especially parents or prospective students of mass communication in our Nigerian universities. Well, against the backdrop also that some have also argued that the way mass communication is being taught, it probably does not meet the need of present-day requirements of a mass communicator. Take, for example, reports are being given that a graduate of a mass communication cannot attend to simple issues when the need arises. Well, to discuss this morning, we are so privileged to have Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo. She's a lecturer with Faculty of Arts, University of Benin State. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning on RTV.
Thank you, Mr. Evans, and good morning, viewers at home.
All right. Now, I don't know how you felt when you heard this story. In the first place, what do you think may have informed this decision by the NUC?
Well, we wouldn't know exactly what led to this kind of decision, but of course, when I heard it, I was a bit shocked, and it was a kind of embarrassing in the sense that I'm of the Faculty of Arts, and I know the challenges departments in the Faculty of Arts have been going through, in the university system. We've been talking about lack of funding, lack of resources. We have a lack of maintenance of even the things that are existing. And now you are splitting a single department into various departments. It was like, what is the rationale behind it? And not only that, before you go into such, there are some things that should have been put into place before meeting that idea. NUC, sometimes it can be very contradictory in the sense that there are minimum standards and minimum requirements laid down by NUC herself, for departments to take off, or for a program to run, in a higher institution. Now, for NUC to come up now to say that a single department is going to be split into 5 to 7 other departments, there are some questions that need to be answered. And one of these questions is that what has been put in place for these programs to run? You don't just start a program just because you just feel like doing it. I feel that one of the reasons that led to this kind of decision may just be out of some selfish interest. People want to build empires on their own. People don't want to be under somebody. So when you know that when you create 5 departments, 5 new departments, automatically you're going to have 5 head of departments. You are going to be, in charge of that department and a lot of things. But in as much as you are thinking about all these gratifications, you should be able to ask yourself, what are the things laid on ground for these programs to start? Let me give you an example. NUC itself said that for a program to kickstart, you must have space. I know that we've been having problems with space, in our own faculty. In
terms of learning facilities.
In terms of learning facilities, and even in terms of, accommodation of offices for lecturers, and then even for classrooms. Do we have enough? That's one. Now for one department, and now you are now splitting this one department into 5 to 7 other departments. That means you are going to have at least 7 classrooms, if not more, because you're going to have 100, 200, at least 4, a classroom for each level. So we talk about space. Then not only that, among NUC basic, requirement, we call them the benchmark for running a program. You must have at least 6 full staff, academic staff, full-time staff, on ground. Are they employed? I'm not aware that in the past 1 year there has been any employment of academic staff. And we are complaining about, shortage of manpower in the university system. Now you have not employed. Now the few ones on ground, you are now expanding the department to give them more work. At the end of the day, in as much as they may have, NUC may have a good intention, but are you sure that it will not end up promoting more mediocrity in the university system and even making mockery of these programs? Why do I say so? You have, let me give an example. You have like 11 lecturers on ground. 11 academic staff on ground for this present mass communication, at least in my institution. And then you are now splitting the department into 5. Now,
into 3 major departments, namely you have media studies, public relations studies, and cinematography. Yeah.
Now they went ahead to talk about journalism and all that.
Yeah, those are sub
that's it.
aspects
at
of
the
it.
end, because we saw the proposal, you
Yeah.
know, they brought it to the faculty, and at the end you'll be having like 5 to 7 programs. So, you know, it doesn't really make sense in the sense that you've not employed. You have not talked about, you know, there's something we call resource verification.
Yeah.
So before the program starts, you must have
ascertain the number of staff
on ground. And you have resource verification to verify the spaces available and then the number of staff available. And not only that, even the materials to be used. Now, the courses to be taught, because some of these things, some of these new departments were created out of the courses being taught by the general mass communication. Now, have they designed new courses to be taught and who to teach what? Those are the things we should be talking about, instead of us telling us that the program is going to kickstart by March.
Yeah, when you say new courses now, I understand that the 3 major, I really don't know how to put it now, whether to say major departments under mass communication. You have media studies, public relations studies, and of course the cinematography. Yes. Now you have journalism as a sub-course, journalism and media studies, public relations studies, advertising, broadcasting, film and multimedia studies, development, communication, information, and media studies. Now, I think all these are various, should I say departments or various aspects of these 3 major departments under mass communication.
Yes, in fact, let me give you an information. All these they've now created as new programs. We call them programs.
Okay,
I wouldn't want to call them department, because the department, you know, is mass communication. Okay. And then these new programs used to be courses being taught under mass communication. Yeah. And so every mass communicator is supposed to know about cinematography. Every mass communicator is supposed to know about advertisement. So these are courses, core courses, you know, that must be taught to every student of mass communication. But now that you are now making them various departments, that means that a student who is now an expert in cinematography may not necessarily go into advertisement, may not necessarily have a knowledge of journalism, may not necessarily. That time, it is what we are saying, we create more room for mediocrity. Because ideally, in an ideal society, you are supposed to have general knowledge of all, and then you now specialize in one. Yeah. What you usually do is that, you know, from 100 to maybe 300 level, you do the general, you have the general courses, and then towards the end, you now take your areas of specialty. In fact, let me tell you, in some institutions, at the first degree level, you take all these courses. Then when you come back for postgraduate studies, you now go into specialization, your area, specific area. Now maybe you go into cinematography, go into mass journalism and all those. But now you are now breaking them into several programs. So you mean that the students have the choice now either to go for this or to go for that, instead of them to learn everything. But the major point, I don't have a problem with it. You know, why I say I don't have a problem with it is that if everything is put in place, these people we have, it will create more job opportunities. At least it will make them to employ at least 6 academic staff for each of the programs, according to their own, to NUC benchmark, you know. So it will create more job opportunities. Beautiful. It will also create more room for research. Okay. Because people want to research and have more knowledge of these things. It's beautiful. But the question is, we are complaining for the programs on grant. We are complaining of lack of funding. We are complaining of lack of manpower. We are complaining of lack of space. We are complaining of so many things that we are lacking. Institutions are not being well funded. For the programs on grant, we have not been able to maintain the ones we have. Now you are creating more. What is the rationale behind it? Okay,
now let's look at one big issue with Nigerian universities. Now I have this as a first-hand experience. I remember my days, I don't want to start with calling names now, but I remember my days in the university. Now, I did year 1, year 2, year 3. It was, I think it was the first semester of year 4, my final year, that we had to go to a language lab. We had to produce some speech sounds to see the configuration of your oral cavity. When you say sound is bilabial plosive. When you say sound is fricative, you have to watch the way your oral cavity is configured when you make those speech sounds. Meaning that all these things, we had them all this while right from year one. We only read them as theories. Now, you are a language lecturer. You may probably understand what I'm saying, and you may have also experienced it too. Now, with all this area of problems, not having you know, the right items to teach with. Even if you have the right items, you don't have the right specialists to really attend to students with all this. How far can we really go? Just like what you were saying.
You see, I thank God that you've gone through the problems, and you, of course, you know some of these problems that we are trying to manage. There was a time, you know, that ASU went on strike. Each time ASU goes on strike, people say they've started again. But people fail to understand the reason why ASU is actually going through this, because most times these facilities are not available.
But I understand that has improved with your school. I mean,
yes,
with the University of Benin,
fact, the University of Benin is really thriving.
A working language
vice chancellor.
You have a good language lab now.
Yes, in fact, she's been able to. She went round inspecting everywhere, and then for those things that are not working, she's tried to put them in place. Everything is kicking off well now.
Is your language lab? Your language lab, is it functional?
It's functional.
What about your foreign language? Your foreign language lab?
No, now
that's functional.
No, we don't have a foreign language lab.
Okay.
Because we have 3 departments sharing one language lab.
Okay.
And we have over 70 booths. 70 functional booths, and we have also a specialist there. And not only that, you know, in my time, when we're in school, you don't only learn the language, you also learn how to use
the speech sounds, how they are being pronounced.
Yes, so that even if the technician is not around, you'll be able to manage the booths yourself and everything. But unfortunately, that is not being done nowadays today, because, like you rightly pointed out, it may be that when the students are supposed to go through that stage, the language lab might be down. And if it's down and nobody takes any interest in repairing or putting them in place, that means that phase will pass, the student will pass to the next level. They will have missed the opportunity of learning how to use the facilities in the language lab. So if these ones graduate someday to become academic staff or to become technicians, they will now start having problems, even understanding how to use these functional. But the major thing is that most departments, ideally, we are not supposed to be sharing a language lab with other departments. Each department is supposed to have
its own language lab.
Yeah. But that we find ourselves, you know, sharing, and sometimes you have to be on a queue. And a situation where you have 180 students in a level, and you have 70 booths, you see that you have to share them into groups. It's more work for the lecturer. And those are the things we are talking about. The facilities on ground, academic staff are using, you know, they are managing the little facilities on ground to make sure that this work is done to a large extent. Now you are now expanding the scope of the work. When you expand it, you exasperate the academic staff, the lecturer, and that's why you find out that some people will just drop dead. Nobody wants to drop dead. And the cause of people not wanting to drop dead, the mediocrity in the system will now continue, because they will just say, okay, let's deal on the theoretical aspect. That's one aspect, my brother. Let's go to the second one. What about electricity? You have a functioning language lab, you have the facilities, but you don't have regular electricity, which cannot be controlled basically by the institution. Sometimes by the society. We have the BEDC and everything, and then when at that particular time when that course is supposed to take place, there is no power, you know, electricity to power these facilities. Those are the things I think NUC should put in place. Look into it critically. They should set up committee. They should set up a committee to look at, you know, the modalities of running new programs before you now think of launching it within 1 or 2 months. Make sure things are on ground. Go for resource verification before you now force it on an institution. Let me tell you another aspect of it, sir. Do you know that after resource verification, you now start talking about accreditation
of these programs?
Of this program.
Yeah.
So
and that's a big problem with institutions in Nigeria.
Yes. And then you now put institution under undue pressure.
Yeah, there has also been this argument that even for mass communication in most universities are not accredited as a program.
Yes.
So now we have unbundling the same mass communication.
So it's a major problem that I don't think people should just ignore. Academic staff should not ignore, and then lecturers in the mass communication sector should also not ignore. People should come together. Look, let me tell you, people should not just sit down at the helm of affairs at Abuja and just conjure something. Was there a committee set up to look into the modalities of breaking down this department into various programs? And if yes, what were their findings? Tell us. Don't just come and just announce something in the open air. That is what I have with us in Nigeria. The problem I have with us in Nigeria, you are dealing with academics, for crying out loud. You are dealing with intellectuals. Talk to us as intellectuals, and don't just talk to us as market women. If you are saying that you want this department to be divided into various programs, beautiful. Okay. But what are your findings, and what are the things, modalities you have put in place to make sure that these things run well? All
right, madam. Now we're going to try to see the perception, how the perception is going to look like on the parts of prospective students that we study this program we're talking about. But again, let's quickly look at another issue. The issue is that for some people, they rather say that, look, these programs have been existing before. If you're a student of mass communication, there's no way you do mass communication without studying journalism and media studies. Exactly. There's no way you graduate from mass comm without knowing something about public relations and public relations studies, even the advertising. So for the NUC to bring it back now, it's just like French. There's no way you study French without knowing French history. That's it. There's no way you do that. There's no way you study linguistics without knowing sounds, without understanding what syntax is, what is semantics, what is phonology, and all that. So for some people, it's probably just a lip service again.
That's the problem. And you see, it continues. You just want the general public to think that you are working, and then you just conjure something. Let me tell you, they talk about public relations. We have already, as an existing department in the Faculty of Social Sciences, a department called Public Relations. Now you are now bringing another one under mass communication. Is that not going to cause conflict of interest? Is that not going to cause confusion? Even during accreditation, in the last accreditation exercise, that was concluded in my institution, there was a set of people they brought for a particular department who were not qualified to assess that department. They were not in that field. For whatever reason, they sent them to that department. And of course, the department wrote a protest, that these people were not qualified. But they felt that on their own, they are qualified. They were qualified to come and do an accreditation exercise in the department. We don't know the verdict of NUC concerning that department now. But we are saying that if that department is not giving a full accreditation, the institution should protest that these people were not specialists. They were not experts. At least for you to have sent a team, you should have brought people in that field. What I'm trying to say is, in the case of this public relations, does it mean that we now have public relations of mass communication and have public relations of social sciences? Of social sciences. These are conflicting things, and they are the ones who have the benchmark. NUC has the benchmark, for crying out loud. So before issuing a statement, you should have been able to look at the nitty-gritties of this statement before just issuing, not just say it to excite the public or from time to time to tell us that you are doing something. You remember the propaganda of 100 fake professors found
in Nigeria.
Up till now, you've not been able to defend it. Up till now, you say you are going to release their names. Up till now, it's almost 5 months after now, nothing has been said. So you don't just come and excite the general public over things. I think intellectuals should take it up.
Anyway, hopefully we should be able to get somebody subsequently on this program from the NUC so that he can also bear his mind on some of the issues that we're looking at here. Now, let's look at quickly the perception of would-be students into this program. Now, for most students, mass communication as a field of study is probably a second fiddle thing. As in, I tried law, I didn't get law, and of course they gave me admission in mass communication. I tried, which other competitive international studies and relationship, and they gave me admission in mass communication. So what do you think is going to be the perception? What do you think is going to be the admittance, on the part of prospective students to really accept, this as, okay, let me study this thing? Don't you think at the end of the day, the aim is going to be defeated? Because according to some of the issues that NUC is raising, is that the way mass communication is being taught in universities now, it doesn't meet the present day requirements of how a mass communicator should look like or should sound like?
Okay, you see, my own perspective, my own perception may be a little bit shocking to you. Now, when the applicants come into the university or when they're applying for, various courses, they just want to apply for, most times, I ask myself, do they really understand what it entails? These courses, do they really know what they entail and what they mean? Because I feel that most times they just choose courses because of the name. They just choose courses because of the past glory. But most times, some of these programs are oversaturated. Let me give you an example. With all due respect and with all humility, I feel that for somebody who studied French, somebody who studied French has more opportunities, or somebody who studied a single honor like in English language, a language has more opportunities than somebody who studied law or mass communication. Anyway, that is relative. That's by the way. Why do I say so? People just they are so excited about names, mass communication. What are you studying? Mass communication. What is mass communication about? Some of them do not even have any idea. In my time, when we were in the secondary school, as we were preparing, approaching the senior secondary, we had school guidance counselor who counseled us concerning our career. We even had career week where they would tell us at the end of the day, you'll be able to appreciate every program and every course, for what it is. And then you'll be able to liken it with your gifts. People don't talk about their talent again. That's why you see that even an intelligent student is struggling to cope in a department. Now, for these ones, they may not be happy that name, mass communication, is no longer there. They may not be happy, that it's no longer there. Wow. And then they will not be looking. They will now go away from all these courses, all these programs that are now under this new mass communication. They may now remove their attention from there and go to the next competitive, most competitive course like international studies and diplomacy or theater arts. But for mass communication, you see, with this differentiation of the program, you see that all of them, mass communication will be laid to rest.
All right, we also laid the discussion to rest now because of time factor. Just like what I said, that we hope on this program subsequently we should be able to get somebody from the NUC so that he can come and unbundle some of the issues we are looking at here one more time. Well, the program is still this morning on ITV. A very big thank you to Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo from Faculty of Arts, University of Benin, here in Edo State. All right, we'll take a short pause now. Please stay tuned.